Hello, my name is Richard Miller, and welcome to Never Not Here on the Road. And today we're in Sonoma, California, and we've been actually in California for a couple of weeks. It seems like it anyhow. And maybe you've been following along, but we've been putting some of our shows on the web, and I think I have about 4 or 5 more to put on the web tonight. And it's amazing what we're finding here, you know. There's so many people that are living in an easy way, taking it easy, in the sense that life is smooth. What can I say? We're going to find out. And we're looking at different ways to describe it and talk about it too, because we're always talking. And yesterday we did some music and poetry, and we did other kinds of things that just feel what is being centered, what is simple about life. And today I had an experience that I don't know if I'm going to be able to actually communicate it to you. I'm going to try, but anyhow, let me just bring on Prasanna. Hello, Prasanna, and welcome.
Okay. Welcome.
Welcome. Oh, thank you. I feel you're welcome. So today you showed me something about your artwork, and you've been an artist for a lifetime, right?
Yeah, painting all my life. Yes. And I would like to know from you, what was your response to the paintings?
You know.
I know there was long silence.
Yes.
Yes.
I don't know. You know, as far as I can tell, I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm not so sure we're going to show you the paintings because it's amazing. And I'm not so sure it'll fit through this little lens. But Prasanna's done a series of paintings, about maybe 15 or 16 paintings.
Yes, about 15. Yes.
And really painted from a very centered point, or some. I don't know if that's what to say. Something. Yeah. It's not a real contemplation. It's not a knowing. It's something.
You can say it's from not knowing, as opposed to from what you know. So it's kind of. So I painted all my life, but these paintings, I didn't want to paint from what I know. So I was kind of sitting on the edge of the known and the unknown and gazing into the unknown, which is full of infinite potential. And just sitting there metaphorically and waiting for that unknown to wanting to become known through me in terms of paintings. So that has been the process. And subject matter of this painting, if I want to say, would be neither the unknown nor the known, neither the manifest or the unmanifest, but the movement from unmanifest to manifest. Because the unmanifest is full of infinite potential. It's not dead, inert, empty, insentient, nothing. It's alive. And that aliveness is continuously unmanifest, becomes manifest, becomes unmanifest. That's the continuous movement. And subject matter or the theme of these paintings can be said to be this movement.
Movement.
Yeah, from unmanifest to manifest. And the form it takes in terms of painting is such that it points back to that unmanifest and the movement. So it's not the form that is created that is holding your attention, but it brings your attention back to the source. So These are words I'm using to
No, but
talk
these
about.
words are going to be, I think we can do it. I don't know what we can do, but something with these words, you know. Okay, now, get the big picture. It's kind of like this. Are they all the same size then? There's 16 or at least 10 of them
Yeah, not all of them are same size.
are 6 foot by 6 foot.
Yeah, approximate. Yes.
They're all
Oh, yeah.
really big. And it's kind of like a painting, each one. I only saw 4, and that was about all I could take, you know. They're really deep, but they're not of anything. They're not of anything.
Not of anything, yes, yeah.
And somehow, looking at them, you can land on many things, but none of them is very important. None of the things
Not
you
as a
land
thing,
on,
exactly.
land on.
Yes, yeah.
You could say, oh, it looks like the sun, it looks like this, it looks like that, it reminds me of this, but none of those are really important. And what there is this tender spot that you're talking about that's right between the manifest and the unmanifest.
Exactly.
No, let me tell you, the first one. Okay, so I saw the first painting, and I said, oh, well, I saw the kind of forms and the gradations of light and stuff like that. And my head was kind of going like, man, it was not really grasping hard, but like reaching and touching things. And all of a sudden the painting just hit me in the heart, just like hit me, and I just started to laugh. It was just like, this is really something, This is really something that no painting that I used to live in Italy, and I went in all the museums, all the old masters. And paintings I can look at for hours and hours. I live in Chicago, and they have so much of the the Van Goghs, and they have a huge collection in that period.
Yes.
And I can get lost in paintings for a long, long time, But mostly it's all in ideas, like of how people lived, and what was the guy thinking, and what was his personality like with these brush strokes, or like what was his nervous system doing when he was moving in here. But not with you, not with you. No.
Okay. Okay. All right. So tell me, what is with these paintings that you...
These ones, and they were quite different, actually, quite different. And they're very, very subtle. I mean, because the point between manifest and unmanifest is something we trot over all the time.
Exactly. That's where
we just stamp over it and never really come in on that point and saying, well, what's that little point where this is nothing and where this is something?
Most of the time we are interested in the manifest forms. We are not even aware of that infinite potential which is unmanifest and eternally moving towards manifestation. That movement is the tender point, as you call it. Yeah.
Like the point is always the key. When you're awareness, okay, you can be aware of one side and you can be aware of the other side. Because people say, like, I was so aware, I came out of that meditation, I came out of that satsang, I was so aware, and then 2 hours went by, and I was lost, and I was just found myself coming back. But where is that point where there is a point where you
point
flop.
Is awareness itself. It's not awareness of this or awareness of that. When we say in meditation, I was aware of total silence and bliss or peace. Then I came out of it, and suddenly after a few hours, now I'm aware of something else.
No, after a few hours I realized I was gone. In other words, the point of jumping out of awareness, or you're not really jumping out of awareness, but just getting so absorbed in one thought after another, disappeared, because that that point, once you see that point, to me, this happened to me once anyhow, and it seemed like that was that's stability itself.
Absolutely. That's the point which doesn't come, doesn't go.
Yeah.
All other experiences that we say I was aware of, they come and go. But this awareness, whatever name you like for it, that's what doesn't come, doesn't go. It's always now. It's not that I had it and I lost it. You can't lose it, can't get it, can't hold it. It is, period. It's the most alive source of life. Life at its most alive at that point. All the energies of life have, these are again description words, have come together and with such intensity to become manifest, like an impending manifestation. They have come together about to manifest. That moment of about, which is neither unmanifest nor manifest, is the most potent, alive point.
Right.
Yeah. And that's what...
That's what none of us have ever known that.
Yeah.
We've never known that.
We always know it, but we never pay attention to it.
Right.
We are always interested in, most of the time, in the manifest forms.
That part of us that is a separation is naturally attracted or hypnotized by more separation, which are boundaries and the descriptions and manifestation.
And that happens because of our identification as some separate entity, person, me. And we think of ourselves as that separate some person. So we are always interested in the likes and dislikes of that person. Mm-hmm. So our attention is focused on that.
And what are, like our safety and like, how does this affect me and how does that affect
all
me?
The desires and fears.
And what is he saying? Does that affect me? Let's see, am I okay on that? Okay, that's okay. No, this guy's dangerous, so I got to get out of here.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah.
All self-referencing, though.
Exactly. But that self-referencing to the self which is conceptually constructed, and which is built up of desires and fears, likes and dislikes. Mm-hmm. And that's what our whole attention as a person most of the time is. Mm-hmm. So we never look beyond it. No?
So let's look at this collection. Like, we're not going to actually look at it right now, but who knows what'll happen. But, 15 paintings, 15 years. I mean, I didn't even ask, but Prasanna said that he just sat with each canvas. And so, sat with it for months, I guess.
Yeah, sometimes for months.
Before he even put one brushstroke on it. So that actually these canvases were painted from the point that we're talking about, right?
You got it.
So when that point came, and when you felt that point, then the brush lifted the hand, right?
Yes, absolutely. Yes. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, desire. That point is always there. But sometimes a desire to first. There has to be recognition of that, what you call that tender point. And then that clarity of its nature. Sometimes along with it, there is a desire to express it. Being an artist, painter, I wanted to express it in terms of a painting, give it some visual form that would make that apparent to anybody who looked at the painting. So these paintings they come from that point, and people, or somebody who looks at the painting, again, it brings you back to that point, to the recognition of it. Now I'm using all these fancy words, but that's all I can do with the words.
No, this is amazing. It's totally amazing because, okay, we talk about transmission or all these things. We think the guru's got power, or we know that sitting in the sangha, or we know that. Somehow like-minded people and so on, but you can actually put that on a painting in a way, which is like a destructuring, because the structure is absent, right? It's in that sense it's like abstract. It has a kind of a feel to it, but how did you say it? You said something like the presence of painting and painting the presence, or what did you say?
I was saying that these paintings are not representation of something.
They're not
representing something. They're presenting themselves.
Their presentation.
So in their presence, something of our own presence, which is deep down present, becomes obvious.
So that there's no representation. It's
exactly.
Like no object.
No. So the subject-object duality vanishes.
Kind of breaks down.
Exactly. So these objects, which are paintings, which we as a person, as a subject, we are looking at the painting. But in that looking, these paintings are such that separation dissolves. Mm.
A work of 16 years.
Or actually, lifetime.
Yeah, a lifetime.
Yeah.
You know, but because he said he saw these things as a child.
Yeah, I saw the potential. See, as a child, we all feel alive and present and conscious. And I always felt, what is this sense of being here and now and alive and conscious? And people say you are this body, this name, this person. But all the descriptions that were given to that alive presence, none of the description would match what I was experiencing as being this presence. And painting, I never decided to be an artist. I was always painting as a child. And as a child, I had some inkling inside. I knew that this medium of painting has a potential to express this, what I'm experiencing.
Oh boy.
And give it some form in terms of painting. So after painting of lifetime, doing mostly nature, not particular places in nature, but the essence of the place, the spirit of the place, the spirit of nature. And that's what I was painting all the time, waiting for this to
Wow.
come. So in this last 16 years or so, these paintings started happening. So now instead of painting spirit of nature, I'm painting nature of the spirit, if you want to call it
Nature
that.
of the spirit.
Well, that's again
Instead of
words,
the spirit of
yeah?
nature, right?
Yeah.
I met a lot of artists because I used to work in that field. And I met a lot of, a couple things. I met some guys that were actually head over and heels in love with their own, just what they knew of their own being and their own painting. And and he says, I can't stop painting. I just go out and I just sit, And he wasn't a meditative guy, Italian guy I knew. And then flowers talk to me. The leaves talk to me, and then
exactly.
I start to tingle, and then I go for it, And also, many creative people talk about being in the flow or being in the, somehow that creativity is not really a doing or a thinking,
Exactly.
But I don't think they certainly have not reached the heights of, or the depths of creativity that I've seen here today.
Well, thank you. But you mentioned artists sitting with the flower and becoming one with it, and then it becomes one flow.
Yeah.
Here, I'm not sitting with some object outside, like a flower or a tree or a landscape. Here, I'm sitting with the subject itself, the ultimate subjectivity, the self-presence, which is alive and aware. Sitting with that and being one with it, and then it becoming some form to talk about itself or say, oh, here I am, that. So that has been the process for these paintings. And I can't even say it's my process now. There's nothing personal about it. I can't. If I could do it, I should be able to do it again, but I can't. So,
you can't do those again?
Again. So, each one has its own technique. It's not that I learned some technique and use that knowledge to produce these paintings. Each painting, that which wanted to manifest, to express itself, determined how it will happen, when it will happen, and what form it will take. I don't even know what it will look like when it is finished, until it is finished. But the insight about that point, or the center you call it, is so clear in the heart. That clarity is always there. Along with that clarity, there has to come a desire to give it a form in terms of painting. So when that desire arises, then the process begins. Brush is picked up and things happen.
A couple of things I want to ask, one is, well, I'll just jump to this that you said, the desire to express. I think many people have a desire to express, but they don't feel there's a way. They don't really see a way. But someone that's been an artist, okay, now we're making these TV shows and these films, and somehow I feel like, why am I doing it? Because I can.
Yeah, that's a good point. This is totally purposeless. There is no why to it. There is no goal for it. There is no agenda for it. It's totally purposeless.
See, why am I here talking to you? Because I can do it, And I never, I'm proving that I can do it by putting all these cameras and stuff in a suitcase and hitting the road.
There is no sense that I can do it.
Yeah. Well, it can be done. I don't know whether I or what, but it just can be done, and I see that it can be done. I don't, yeah.
Yes, so it, rather than done, can we use the word happen? It can happen.
Yeah, it can happen.
I like that word better than doing.
Yeah.
This is all one happening, starting from that unmanifest to becoming this manifest form, and all that happening at that juncture of the manifest and the unmanifest. Of course, these are words, but they point to that. And that point, as I said, is the most powerful life at its most intense and alive. That point of about to become unmanifest, about to become manifest. And that.
Yeah, that's a nervous point for many people, I guess it is. Maybe that keeps us running.
Exactly. I mean,
it feels funny, like I should do it, no, I shouldn't do it. But when I'm in there and doing is in there, of course it's awkward. It's awkward.
Exactly.
But somehow, if maybe just the flow is requires a patience, or
patience is no. Patience is again. We think in terms of a person being patient. It's not that. It's tuning into that aliveness, that alive nature of that point, and recognizing that that point is not, again, dead or inert. It's full of potential, and it's eternally becoming, eternally emerging. So that energy potential is, you become one with it, so to say, and then itself, the desire, when I say desire arises to express, it's not my personal desire. That desire is life itself, wanting to become something, manifest itself. And this is what all this is, right?
Mm-hmm. Sometimes
it's not my doing or your doing.
Sometimes it's said that that point that we're talking about becomes so juicy that interest in anything else just drops away. And that's called stabilization, or like you could call it like, there's no other interest, why would I ever move out of home,
Exactly.
But then when I said patience, it's kind of like I can touch that point, I feel.
Yes.
But then the other part of me, the part that's wandering and roving, that's the part that needs patience, because it wants to pop up and say things about it and take and do something with it, and say like, I got to tell Prasanna's story now, Go for it, and do this, has got to get out there. And then I buy that story, see? Something in me believes that story. And the grosser stories I don't believe anymore, but the more subtle ones I still have a tendency to believe, because I think, well, these are more refined and they feel like really they're coming from more of an authentic place, but maybe not. There's still a movement away from what is, and a movement away into the flights of fancy.
So the Prasanna is there, even there in this process, but not as a separate doer, but as an instrument for that to happen. Like a brush is needed for painting, canvas is needed, paint is needed. Same with this body is needed to pick up the brush. Mind is needed to know the technique or whatever. So then all this becomes tools and instruments in the process of that manifestation. So there is no separate Prasanna is there, but not separate individual doing this. It's part of this happening. So it's kind of tuning into the creative process of the universe. And then that process wants to become this painting. Then it needs some body, mind to pick up the brush, some insight into the nature of that creativity. All that is part of happening. There is no separate doer. Of course, when we talk about it, we say, oh, Prasanna did this painting. And then we believe it. That's the problem. If we talk about this way, talk that Prasanna did this painting, that's fine on that level of language, yes. That's the only way the language is constructed. So, yeah. But that's not the way it is experienced. So when I say I sit in front of the painting, blank canvas for sometimes months, it's like tuning into and becoming part of this alive process of life itself. People call it surrender and all that. I don't like those big words.
Yeah, they have too many meanings.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a little bit of what it's like. So, it's kind of a spacious house and a lot of light in it and simple rooms. And there's a sitting room where we have tea and just chat and the simple kitchen. And then there's this one room that's kind of like the showing room. There's basically very empty and white carpet, white walls, white blinds, white ceiling. And then there's kind of like a stand, which is the fireplace, but it's a perfect stand for a 6x6 canvas. And then Prasanna says, just take a seat. And, we at a certain distance, pretty far maybe. It's a pretty big canvas. And then he goes out and comes back with this big canvas. And while he's in the hall, he says, okay, now shut your eyes. And then we hear some rustling around and some kind of a big thing moving through. And then he's got it all set up. He comes and sits down next to us against the wall. And then he says, okay, open your eyes. And I didn't even want to look at first, I just want to ease into it. And I get up there and, whoa, it's a shock. It's shocking. What can I tell you? It's very subtle. The ones I saw were very subtle. There was light ones and dark ones, very subtle. And then anything happened in these subtleties of these shapes and colors. And they start to move and dance, and they look different. And then some things move in my head, and then not too much. I don't know what to make of it. My head doesn't know what to make of it.
Exactly. So mind stops because mind can't do anything with it.
And then, like I say, the very first one, all of a sudden, boom, I burst open in the middle. And I think I had a laugh, Several times I just started laughing and thinking, wow. And we watched them for we gazed at them for 10 minutes or maybe 15, I don't know, pretty long. And then at the end, my head was just kind of like glowing. And it left my heart, and it kind of just was here. And then my mind would come in and say, well, it's him, it's Prasanna, that's some kind of enlightened being radiating this grace down, But I wanted to ask questions like, do these things work outside of the house? It's pretty amazing, I'll tell you.
And then, as I was telling you, many people have come to see these paintings, and then they send more people. So there is a continuous flow of people. Hundreds of people have come through this.
In Sonoma.
In Sonoma. Yeah.
Sonoma.
Yeah. From far away places, from different countries. All kinds of people from all kinds of places. And I'm not... So these paintings happened, which I was waiting since childhood. They happened. Some people saw them, and then they sent more people, and they sent more people. So that's how you are here today.
Exactly.
Yeah. So,
somebody gave us a call and said, oh, you're going to Marin, you got to see Prasanna.
It's nothing to do with me. I never planned or wanted or advertised.
One thing, though, Prasanna says that at least 10 of them have to stay together.
Yeah, people want to buy these paintings, offered me big amount of money for some paintings. But I'm not selling them. These series of paintings, I'm keeping them together because this sharing them with people for last 10, 12 years has been so wonderful. So I don't want to separate the painting. Somebody buys one painting, it goes to somebody's house, and not many people can see. So I'm trying to hold them together, not sell them, share them. And there is a desire that eventually someone will make a place for it where they can be together, where people can go and be with the paintings.
Each painting is such a meditation. It's an introspection. You know, we were saying it needed a museum. Then we said, oh, it needs a 10-room museum because it's got to have 10 paintings. Prasanna said, no, it could just be one room that we switch it, you know. Every week it gets a new one. You can come back for a new session.
Way, yes.
You can come back for a new session.
But this is a desire. I don't know what will happen. And I know...
It's a vision or something, right?
Yeah. But there's no... These paintings happen through me. But now doing all this, finding a place, making a place, all that is not... I have no... And no inclination
that's not your business.
That's not, so if it happens, happens.
But tell me a little bit about your other paintings, because did they come in also series and so on? Did you have a series? I saw you did certain kind of face. That's fine. That's perfect. Yeah. I saw you did some faces, like there's Gandhi and there's Einstein.
I did very few paintings of people in my lifetime. What you saw were, of course, on the walls. But my first show was about Himalayas, mountains. So in that sense, it was a series of paintings of the mountains. I traveled through Himalayas, and I never painted anything there or made even sketches. Just imbibed the essence of the place. And then after coming home, after 6 months or so, paintings start emerging. And then for a few months, continuous flow. So I think first show was about 34 paintings. So that way the theme or the series of paintings of mountains, ocean. I had one series of paintings of monsoon rains and reflections. So yeah, in that sense, this kind of series happens. Yeah.
Are those all sold?
Most of them are sold. Yes, I had many shows. No, I was in India before I came here. At the age of 35, I came here. I had many shows in India, then many shows after coming here. And most of the paintings are sold. But I never painted a single painting for selling. After painting happens, if it is sold, that's fine.
So are your paintings in galleries now?
No, I have stopped dealing with the galleries for last 16 years since I'm painting these. Before that, I had a gallery and they used to show my work. But to commercial things, so I'm out of it now.
Uh-huh. Yeah. So is there anywhere to buy your work now? Can you just come here and see some things?
Yeah. And if
you can see the ones that are still for sale?
Yes. But no, don't come for buying painting. Come to see these paintings.
Oh, yeah, right.
That I love.
No, but we might want you to eat too, you know. We want you to pay the rent and eat.
No, I understand.
We can be worried.
Yeah. So if that happens, fine. But I love to share these paintings. I want you to come, or whosoever you want to come here. And that's what is happening. And without my trying or doing anything. And then the conversation, as you see, because of the nature of the paintings, conversation goes in that direction. Manifest, unmanifest, spirit, whatever, awareness, consciousness. Then some people just come for conversation. So that is happening too.
It's kind of like what we're doing right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
So all this is unplanned, and I'm not announcing, I'm some teacher, or I come, I'll teach you. No, nothing like that. No. I have nothing to say. But when people come and something...
You have to express, though, because the paintings are the expression.
Come and then if the question is there, or interest is there, words arise. There's no fixed teaching kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah. It's,
We're real curious, about pointing toward truth, we could say. I don't know. These are all words, again, that get in the way,
and that's
I guess.
what these paintings do, right?
Pointing toward truth without words.
Right.
We're saying, well, because we all read a lot of books, and we can get wrapped up in
The words,
what they say and
right.
who said what, and why this guy said it in a different way. And then we can also say that, no, it's the teacher is in you, it's what you see when you point your attention in a certain way. And then this is perfect, because when you see a painting, the impressions and what comes
It
are
becomes a
totally,
direct experience.
totally wells up within you. And
Yes. And then some people still need some words.
then
some
words come
Then the
on the
words
back.
arise too,
Yeah,
yes.
the words arise too. Words of amazement.
And words can be, if they're used as pointers, then they can be very useful. But if they're used as some fixed description of reality, or this is it, words are made into fixed entities, then they become a bondage. While as
Absolutely.
pointers, they free you from all your concepts and point towards that which is not a concept.
Somehow, I think it was said a couple of days ago, I don't know where I was, but it was said that stories and explanations and interpretations can only be relevant if they're relevant to now, right now.
Exactly.
So that's where they're pointing, to right now and right here.
Yeah, but it depends on how they're said or used. For every story doesn't point to that now. Story sometimes involves you in the story,
Yeah.
and
Then
instead
it's
of
not. It's questionable.
that takes you away from
Of questionable use.
Exactly. So it's how that matters, not what. How is the art? The art is not all about how, not what. So same words used in a different context by somebody can be very useful in revealing the truth, while the same word used by somebody else in a different way can be totally cover up the truth. Is how.
See, that's what I'm afraid of, as far as just taking a picture of these paintings, and we just be covering up the truth instead of demonstrating the truth. And somebody else would maybe try, and maybe they'd have great cameras and great music and great lighting, and somehow make put smoke in front of it or whatever kind of effects they would want to try to. But I wouldn't want to add anything to these paintings. I wouldn't want to add anything.
Absolutely, you're right. And people have wanted to take pictures, make large posters, make books out of it. But the photograph can't capture it because they're so subtle. And as you saw, they're so changing.
Right.
Continuously.
They need to be in a room and they change with the sun probably, because you have a
skylight.
Well, you have a skylight in the back, and then probably just
and with the
clouds.
light, the colors change. But the experience remains the same. That's the beauty of this.
I hope I can come back, because I want to see that. I want to see, because what happens the second time when you see them.
Absolutely.
But you've seen them 100 times.
Yeah, that's what I was telling Mary, that I have shown these paintings to hundreds of people. So I've seen them so many times. But every time I put the painting up and look at it, first inner reaction is, where did this come from? To me also it's a surprise, because it did not come from the mind, not from the known. It came from the potential, unknown.
So even carries you back to that. Just look at it. Carries you right, and even quicker, because
exactly.
you were there.
Yes.
Deja vu.
Yeah. Connects me to that point, right? Yes.
Yeah. Sometimes I feel that about our interviews and so on, because maybe I got into this business because I was I was thinking, I hear these truths, but what does it mean to me? And I better
Right.
listen to them again. And then I started to film, and then from filming, I started to edit. And edit means I would listen to it again, and then I would edit the video, and then I'd edit the sound, and then in the meantime, I'd probably listen to the thing 5 or 6 times, and I never got bored.
Of course.
So then I thought, well, it must still be deep, and I was always lights going off inside my head and saying, whoa, that's it. And so it's kind of like
Yes.
these shows I kind of like them all, even the very early ones that were
wonderful,
quite different,
That's beautiful, yes.
but still there seemed to be a value.
Yeah, and because you are not, I'm supposing that, you are not doing this or starting this with some fixed agenda in mind, fixed result of that particular interview. You're open
Right.
to what comes up.
No, yeah, it always has to be
So,
it always has to be a happening
yes.
and a discovery, and then
And whenever we are in that mode, let's see what happens. That's wonderful on any level. That's when the mind is totally free and open and
it's amazing.
yeah, exactly.
It's amazing. In one part of my life, maybe if I could go 1 year and then be open to something the next
Right,
year,
yeah.
and then month to month, and then week to week, hour
And
to
then
hour,
moment to
and
moment, remain
moment.
open to.
Let it be fresh.
Let's see what happens.
Let my partner be fresh, a new person every moment. Let my
Same person
relationships,
may
yeah,
be seen freshly if
Yeah.
we see it with this openness.
yeah. That's it. That seems like a challenge. I don't know. It's a
Usually
challenge.
we don't even see
don't
the
even know if
person.
it's a
We see
challenge.
them through what we remember of that
Right,
person.
right. What
We are
we
not
expect.
actually looking at the
We're
person.
just looking at our expectations.
So when this state of being where let me see what is, let me see what happens. That. When I was a little boy, even, I wanted to know what is this sense of being and alive and conscious and what is this? And so people say, read this book, that book. I read a lot of things. Even when doing that, I always felt that today my circle of knowledge is this big. If I read more, it becomes bigger. But at the end of the circle, at the edge of the circle, there is this infinity of unknown. The known is always limited. Unknown always remains infinite. So I kind of metaphorically found myself as that little boy hanging on the edge of the circle of the known, gazing into that unknown. With that, let's see. Yes.
I was saying that about a year or two ago. Couldn't we just go to the edge of the mind and hang out there for a little while?
Exactly. Yes.
Like what is the edge of the mind? It's where concepts start to break down.
Exactly.
Because concepts are okay for just a little area where we kind of fix them, and then we just say, if I don't go out of this circle, these concepts seem to hold water, but then they don't. And then it seems like dangerous territory, like, oh, my life is breaking down,
But
I
that's
don't
for
know
the
what
mind.
I'll do.
Mind is afraid.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah,
when
fear is
you
from
go
mind.
from the edge of the mind to look beyond the mind, then the mind is afraid, of course.
A friend of mine said, no, you don't, you don't go to the edge, because I went there once and boom, my whole body just bounced back,
I know.
like, whoa, get out of here.
And then say, mind is known. All that is known is mind.
Mm-hmm.
Unknown is not part of the mind.
Unknown is before the mind.
Yes. And that which is the little boy that was hanging on that edge between the known and the unknown, I realized that that is neither known nor unknown. It is unknowable as an object. That which was aware of the known and the unknown, both. That awareness is can neither be known, cannot remain unknown. It's not even unknown. It's known so clearly because we are it. It's known by being it, not as an object. So it remains unknown as an object, unknowable as an object. And that's right there, that tender point you say between the manifest and known and the unknown. That. And when we use word awareness, mind makes it into some kind of thing, very big maybe, very transparent or whatever image. It's not a thing. But because it's not a thing doesn't mean it's not. If at all anything is, that is. Any name you like, call it awareness or nothingness. Because awareness is no thing, is nothing.
I had a good fortune last year that I was, without even knowing that I was going to do it, but it just was a kind of a happening. It happened pretty quick, just in a couple of weeks. I was transported to India. And I was able to stay actually over 100 days, 3.5 months. And everything was really fresh there. I was just moving, and really just absorbing. And when you said that these kind of inner knowings came over you as a child, and this inquisitiveness to say, well, what is out there? What is at the edge? What is... And then that's, I don't know, maybe that's in India is somehow a culture that's more ripe for that. Or, you know, when our kids would probably be thinking of playing G.I. Joe or having a video game and shooting somebody. I don't think our kids, too many of them. There's some, I'm sure, that have introspective moments and maybe that have special experiences. But what is it about India that, I wanted to find a job there and I wanted to stay there actually.
India, not as a geographical boundary, political India, geographical India, but that area, that land. So far as I know, I don't know about other places, but the inquiry into the nature of the self, of what is this sense of being? I am here. That sense of self. Inquiry into the nature of the self has been pursued most earnestly, intensely for thousands of years. And that has permeated every aspect of life there. That's how I experience India. It has been there in many different regions of the world. Some people, some groups, but not as a civilization as a whole.
Not as a culture.
Yes, this was the main inquiry. And that, I think, could be the reason for what you are saying.
Here in the West, our culture seems to be so fearful. When you look at it, we're so afraid of losing something, or afraid of terrorists, or afraid of big
that is
bankers
there
also and stuff.
In India too. All that is there, but over and above all that, this inquiry also is there.
Yeah, we would be afraid to inquire too, because I don't know. Even religions say that when mind gets less firm. That's the devil's playground.
Exactly.
That's where something bad comes in. And everything comes in there, I guess.
Yeah.
So.
No, when the mind is still, it's within the mind, when it is not formed, as you said. But we are not still looking beyond the mind. That's where we can talk about devil or whatever.
Within the mind, we talk about devil.
Mind, yes.
Yeah, right.
But what you were talking before about
going to the edge of mind, and where it breaks down, and just stand there for a while, and just for a little while even, and just see how it goes.
Exactly.
See if you can return there, and if it's safe.
Beyond the mind, there is this infinite intensity of silence and emptiness. But it's not dead. That's most alive there. Everything mind knows is all past. Everything known is past, isn't it?
So that's really past. Dead. That is totally dead.
Well, life is now. Life is not in the past. So everything that is known through mind is all past and dead, if you want to call it that.
Well, nothing can be done there.
There
You can't live there.
You
You can't change anything. You can't give anything to anybody.
Yes.
You can't make a gift. You can't receive anything.
But we have made mind to be the final judge of what is real. We are given that place to the mind, which mind cannot do.
Even in a way, you know, there's some things that are probably totally related to the past, like forgiveness.
Right.
It totally has to do with the past. It's something you can do now,
Exactly.
but actually, basically,
Still,
it's-
you're looking at
it's
the
something
past.
that you could do.
Yeah.
It kind of is a help to throw away the past and
And
unload
also, the one who is forgiving, the you who is forgiving, is nothing but the past.
Right, exactly.
The you that is not in the past has no forgiving.
Nothing to forgive, nothing to forgive.
So the one who thinks I have to forgive on this
Total past. No, I got
exactly. So if we don't recognize that that me is past, that's where we look beyond the mind. That's where we come to that self, capital S, self, which has nothing of past in there or future. It contains both, but it's not limited to it. It is the source of both. And that self is now. And this now moment is not part of time. We generally think that time comes from past, comes to now, and then goes to future. That's our normal way of visualizing time. It's not that way. The now is now, and now thoughts about past arise. If there are no thoughts about past, where is past? If there are no thoughts about future, where is future? They both, past and future, depend on thoughts. While this now doesn't require thinking about it. It's not dependent on thought, while past and future depend on thought. And those thoughts are also happening now. So this now is full of infinite potential. It's the source of past and future thoughts. Why it's not confined to that. It includes them and transcends them. That's the live nature of it.
it.
And
Many of us get to a point where we can really see the logic in that.
yes,
You know, it's totally logical because none of us have ever been in the past or in the future.
right.
And like there's no
Yeah.
witness, you know. But I mean, somehow we have a habit, I guess, of just considering the past and considering the ramifications in the future and saying, well, this
Well,
is how
that's-
it's going to be, even though they're false and we
That
know they're
is
false.
fine. That happening of that
Uh,
is fine. No problem. If we see that consideration is happening in the now, and if we don't ignore this now, the alive now, and don't recognize that all this considering past is just thoughts, considering future, projecting future is thoughts, happening in the now, which is not a thought, it doesn't depend on thought. It is independent, totally. While past and future are not independent. If there are no thoughts present about the past, there is no past. So even past will have to be present in thoughts to have some life in it.
right.
And you said, you used the word, we can all grasp this logically. But
With our thoughts.
exactly.
Right.
To grasp it, to be it right now, directly. Not as a logical conclusion. Are we just a logical conclusion? This our sense of being here is prior to any logic. Logic is a secondary phenomenon. So if we start with that which is obvious, not a result of some thinking, not a conclusion by logic, that now that presence. And if we begin there, then we see that all this logic, reasoning, thinking, past, future, thoughts, all they arise in this now. And this now is not limited by any of it, not confined to any of it, but it includes it and transcends it. So, to have just one glimpse of it once, not logical conclusion.
Now, lately, we were also talking about pain, which is a hard one for people to give up. Pain,
okay.
and or suffering.
Yes.
And then, basically, we were talking to someone that works in prisons and works with convicts, and they probably got into this fix, by having a pretty rough life, pretty rough childhood, and if not even torture and neglect and so much abuse. And somehow that's hard to really see as just a thought, because you think it's somehow imprinted. They're thoughts that maybe the thought doesn't want to let go because it says, I never want to repeat this, so I better hold on to this so that I'll I don't know what, because actually it's vice versa. The more you hold on to it, the more you're repeating it. You're always repeating it.
That's it. Yeah.
But that's kind of hard for people to say, oh, I just shrug off all my,
but don't you see that
my early life and that,
Yeah.
You lived probably, India's a very loving place, at least the parts that I saw.
Yeah, but everything is there in India too. All this pain, suffering, struggles. The difference perhaps is that all this is there, but at the same time, there is inquiry into what is beyond it is also there. That's the difference.
So then that's what the ingredient that needs to be put with pain is the inquiry into what's beyond. What is this pain and where does it come from?
Exactly. And then also see behind that this assumption of I have this pain, I am in pain, and there is this image of that I, me, myself. Rather than just inquiry into the pain, inquiry into that. What is that? I. Some self-image, as you said, from past experiences of whatever circumstances person may have grown up in, and building some image of myself. If we see that self-image is nothing but imagined self, then perhaps we may want to know, what is my unimagined self? Is there a self which does not need to be imagined? All self-images are limited, built around memories of circumstances and experiences and conditions. But there is, and it keeps on changing, right? There is no fixed, depending on changing circumstances and conditions, image will change too. But there is this unchanging, always present awareness of being, which doesn't depend on conditions. Our attention is never on it, inquiry is never on it, interest never in it. Interest is always on this self-image which is taken to be myself. And it's not even recognized that self-image is just imagined self.
You were kind of saying, like, what's this self that doesn't even need imagination?
Exactly. Does it need imagination?
Yeah.
Tell me.
And then that's what I say is like why we come to visit you and others like you, because in a way you're making a testimony and you're saying there is. Check it out.
It's not because I'm saying it. I want you to see it now.
No, but I mean, sometimes it takes a testimony of somebody to say that this is possible so that you can find it. You can find it.
Yeah.
And it's actually darn easy.
It is easy because it's not the result of some effort. It's the most effortless here, now, presence. Do you have to make some effort to know that you are right now? Do you have to meditate for 20 years to know that you are? Do you need some guru to come and tell you, oh yes, you are? Do you ask me whether you are? I'm not talking about you as Richard, but this just simple, pure, simplest sense of being and knowing, without any added qualification to it. We all have it right now, isn't it?
That's true.
That, stay with that. It is beyond any doubt, isn't it? Isn't it?
That's beyond any doubt.
Can you doubt it if you want to? That
No,
you are?
I don't think you can.
So
I don't
why
think you
not
can.
start with that which is known directly beyond any doubt and build our theory of life on that foundation. Anything that we want to say about life, let's have that solid foundation which cannot shift.
We heard something I thought was really good about a couple of weeks ago because, you know, we can all go that far and we can all say, of course I'm here. I think most everybody will say that. But somehow deep inside we think, well, but this is not the here, this is not it because, you know, he's different than me, you know.
But then now we are talking about the body.
Well, I mean, not even the body, just a state of mind or state of peace
or the mind,
state of peace,
thing,
state of peace or state of being or, but I mean, somebody said, like, if I wish something for your life, I wish you'd never compare yourself to anyone.
Wow.
And then, what do you need the books for? Throw them out. But I mean, okay, you can take hints. When the pointing is to now and back to you, then the pointing is valuable. But somehow there's that way that compares, and the comparison says, well, okay, I haven't arrived yet. It's just an assumption. And of course I am, but somehow there's more than this.
It's the other way around.
And that's a preconception that there's more than this. That's just kind of like a no. There's some kind of a no that just throws us back into groping and searching, and the mind is kind of like a beacon looking around. Where am I going to find this thing? Where am I going to find this thing?
Exactly. See how, don't you see how absurd it sounds? I'm looking for myself out there.
Yeah, I'm looking for something, a ribbon in my hair, or something must be different, you know. And somehow just to say no, throw all that out. You're you. You're you.
Or just to be interested in what is that I who is searching?
Right.
Wanting to know that clearly.
Right.
Yes.
But even with that, I spent some years, you know, doing that, and then still thinking that I'm looking for something special, and it's so subtle. It's kind of down there somewhere that says, you know, it's going to be different. It's going to be different. There'll be a piece, and then you have one or two of these big openings, and then you think, oh, yeah, like those. Yeah, I want to go back to that, you know.
Yeah.
So then...
Richard, the simple thing, if it came and it went, experience no matter how peaceful or sublime, oh, but I had it and I lost it. Were you there when it came?
Yes, I was.
Are you there after it went?
Yes, I am.
What is it?
It's gone.
No. The peace is gone, but you have not gone.
No, I haven't gone.
So I'm pointing towards that, which doesn't come, doesn't go. With the peace or the pain or suffering or...
Yeah, so then peace and the pain and the suffering and the joy, they're all irrelevant.
Yes. So if we know that reality of ourselves, so to say, which doesn't come, doesn't go, which is present, always present, when can I be? Yesterday? And when can I know that I am? That is so obvious, so real, so effortless. And it is so simple and so obvious, so mind says, no, it can't be. It has to be a little more difficult than that. And in that so obvious sense of being here now, every experience is in that, not outside of it. Because that sense of being and knowing has no physical boundary. How big it is? Or how small? How much space does it occupy? I don't mean the body. If we think I'm the body, then of course it is limited. But the sense of being and knowing, how much space does it need? time-wise, it can only be now. So it doesn't need any time. Now let's come to the space.
Yeah, and that's a little harder. Time seems to be
Yes,
kind of like a little bit more straightforward.
straightforward. Okay. So look at it. Not think about it, but look at it. Be it and see how much space I need to feel that I am. To know that I am.
Somehow you might want to say that I need at least a point, because without that point,
Yeah,
what I is am,
No,
what
that's
I
perfect. No,
what I is am, you know.
No, that is perfect. Because the definition of a point, even in geometry, that which is no
No
length
dimension.
or breadth.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's what point is. So it's the point.
At least that, then.
Yeah, it is, but it is dimensionless, which includes all the dimensions in it. That's why it's a point. Other is a linear line. The person is linear. History, past, memory.
Mind is a line, right?
Mind is
Because
linear,
it seems like
absolutely.
thoughts come one at a time, right?
Exactly, yeah. Well, this point, that's a perfect word you used there. Yes.
Mm.
Mhm.
So I think we tricked everyone today because we told them so many good things about a painting and we're not even going to show them one.
Ah,
I feel kind of like,
I
uh-oh.
know, yeah.
Uh-oh.
Yes, but yeah, anytime anyone wants to come, I'm very happy to share these paintings with them. So,
That's fantastic.
and that's what
Yeah.
happens. You know.
It's a huge experience. You know, it's just like it's a meditation, it's a satsang, it's a darshan, it's all those good words. It's an opening. It's a breaking down, really. It's a relaxing. It's a putting away what's not necessary.
Yeah.
Folding up a lot of concepts and put them back into their envelope and
Yeah.
back into the file drawer.
Well, I'm so happy you came and you connected with the paintings, tuned into the paintings.
I really did.
That's wonderful. Yeah,
I really did.
that makes me very happy.
Makes me happy too. I heard about it. And so,
Okay, wonderful. And do
So,
come back. I
yeah.
love talking to you. Yes.
Prasanna
Mm.
from Sonoma. Take that down, folks. So I'm not really going to give out a phone number right now or anything, but I don't know. There's a way to find out. And if you're ever up in, is this North Marin or north of Marin?
North of Marin,
North of Marin.
northwest. Mhm.
Yeah. So we've really had some great conversations, and we're real happy that you've been a part of them. So keep up the good work, and I'll do my part.
Wonderful. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
It's great to have you here. Yes. And I mean it. Do come back. I'd love to spend some time.
Monday afternoon.
Good enough. Good enough. Yes.